You chase approval like oxygen, begging for smiles that drain your authority until respect dies in the shadow of your need to be liked. Machiavelli warned that trying to be good in all things leads to ruin, for kindness without power is weakness disguised as virtue. Being liked is fragile currency, borrowed on moods and shallow impressions, while respect is owned, built on proof and boundaries. Approval seekers laughed too loudly, apologize for existing, and bleed credibility, while the respected man sets his own price and thrives in scarcity. Detachment is sovereignty over reactions, choosing instead of being chosen, sitting in silence while others fill rooms with nervous noise. Approval makes you a puppet pulled by hunger, but respect makes you the storm a calm. Answer the gravity people orbit. Weak edges invite invasion. Every softness no costs ground, and softness doesn't protect it, makes you disposable. Strength isn't cruelty, but consistency enforced through action, because people respect what repeats, and boundaries only exist when enforced. Urgency's the oldest trap. Never rush low down and watch them sweat, because those who chase approval never sleep well. Power is optics, perception, compounding reality, and silence multiplies respect, while noise dissolves it. Scarcity of access makes kings. Availability makes jesters, so guard your calendar like a throne. Respect is not performed, but structured through systems, predictability, and inevitability, turning your presence itself into negotiation. Be allergic to crumbs of approval, because every hit lowers dignity while withdrawal liberates. Stop auditioning for roles that don't exist, for the world is a battlefield where clarity outlasts charm and reputation beats repetition. Be generous with results, not identity. Discipline speaks louder than words. Patterns rule and boundaries. Disappoint, that's proof. You're no toy. Respect doesn't require brutal fear, only the subtle fear of wasting your time, because decisiveness, not cruelty, builds structure. Respect is calm optics under fire, the unbroken stare. People never forget, and it scales with predictability. Every no sharpens you. Every fold donates power, until your value lies not in being liked, but in being irreplaceable. Irreplaceability is the ultimate wealth, for men chase money, but forget that scarcity of self is worth more than gold. If they can imagine life without you too easily, you are already half dismissed from their table. A respected man understands leverage. He knows that timing, withdrawal, and silence can cut sharper than any outburst. He lets the weight of absence speak louder than the noise of constant presence. Approval demands you show up everywhere, desperate to be seen, desperate to be clapped for. Respect demands you appear only when it matters, your entry itself reshaping the room's temperature. The likable man fears disapproval, so he bends, softens, and edits himself into palatable crumbs. The respected man knows that friction is proof of substance, that offense is often the tax of authenticity. You cannot win respect by smoothing every rough edge, for respect is born in the refusal to sand down the spine. Boundaries, even when inconvenient, are remembered as lines no one forgets. The respected man accepts that to stand firm is to be disliked by some, but he would rather be hated for strength than pitied for weakness. Pity is the graveyard of authority, for once they pity you, they cannot fear or respect you. Better to be envied and criticized than to be tolerated as harmless. Harmlessness is the mask society tries to place on men, urging you to soften until you are useful but not dangerous. Yet the Machiavellian truth is clear: only the dangerous man who restrains himself earns trust. A sword hidden in the sheath commands more respect than a man with empty hands, for people respect the possibility of harm, even when it is never used. Approval is performance, requiring endless scripts, applause, and rehearsals. Respect is architecture, a structure built on patterns that require no explanation. The respected man doesn't explain himself 10 times to be understood once. He speaks once, enforces once, and lets the pattern burn into memory. To chase approval is to live on shifting sands, always rebalancing with every gust of opinion. To live for respect is to anchor in bedrock, immovable while storms rage. The likable man apologizes before speaking, giving away his worth before he even names it. The respected man never apologizes for existing, only for errors and, even then, briefly, surgically. Excess apology is a confession of unworthiness, a performance of guilt that no one asked for. The respected man knows that dignity is preserved not by begging forgiveness, but by correcting and moving forward. Respect is earned not in grand gestures, but in the small consistencies repeated until undeniable. The way you show up, the tone you maintain, the discipline you enforce form the scaffolding of authority. Approval is quick to inflate, but quicker to evaporate, like smoke blown from another's lungs. Respect condenses into stone. Weight. Respect lives in mechanics, not moods. Your breath, your frame, your silence. A calm gaze, steady breath, and scarce words multiply value, while silence and refusal forge sovereignty. And rules on paper protect when feelings betray. Value precedes you. Access must be scarce, generosity structured, and intimacy guarded. Urgency poisons. Memory bends, but text stands firm. And mornings, rest, wardrobe, and scoreboard decide authority. While conflict demands neutrality, boundaries spark anger, and scarcity is dignity. Quiet power becomes law. The body signals before words. Slouched backs and darting eyes announce weakness, while straight postrum and steady gaze declare sovereignty. Control begins with breath, and the calmest man writes the tempo of the room. Words must be scarce, short, and clear, dropping heavier than floods of chatter. Silence becomes your ally as others rush to fill voids, revealing desperation, while you remain unshaken and sovereign. Refusal is a martial art. No must roll, sharp and calm, no essays, no apologies. When you explain, you beg. So close doors, cleanly, because every justification opens you to negotiation. Your constitution must guide you. Aims rules, and boundaries written to protect when feelings betray. Deliver undeniable value, for competence precedes you, silencing doubt before you speak. Protect your access to much. Availability bleeds value. Scarcity preserves mystique. Generosity must have edges. Structured giving breeds gratitude, while random giving breeds entitlement. Master no with direction. Decline misaligned paths, while pointing to aligned ones, turning refusal into leadership. Protect your surface area, spilling no details into casual hands, because mystery is leverage. Move deals into writing. For paper traps, liars, and humbles excuses. Refuse to audition for laughter, because if you must play clown to stay, the room is not yours. Urgency is poison. The rushing man always pays more than the waiting one. Sovereign pace is slow pace. Patience, the sharpest power. Build consequences that enforce themselves. Missed meetings vanish without debate. Automation beats confrontation. Eye contact becomes war. Steady and unflinching until they fold. Frame refusal as redirection. Closed doors, pointing to better designs. Name trade-offs allowed. Adults respect mathematics, while children demand miracles. Replace pride with standards, which demand compliance instead of emotion. When ambushed in public, shrink scope to neutral, narrow. Necessary theatrics collapse when spotlight dies. Starve rumors with silence. Never manage them. Let work speak. Wardrobe becomes policy. Sharp and consistent. Discipline visible before words are spoken. Guard intimacy like treasure. Access to your private self earned slowly. Fast intimacy births fast betrayal. Conflict must remain narrow and neutral. Anything else is theater. Never insult what you lead, for mockery erodes trust faster than failure. Keep a scoreboard. Daily output, weekly progress, monthly impact numbers. Silence. Critics better than emotion. Invest in rare asymmetric skills, becoming hard to replace and impossible to ignore. Mornings decide authority. Scattered starts create scattered frames, while sleep is strategy, guarding rest like equity. Your reputation is a balance sheet, compounding through consistency, and one collapse of boundaries is expansive debt. Choose your arena wisely, never wasting discipline in rooms that only respect noise. Clarity beats volume. Unmistakable beats loud. Apologies must be sharp and rare. One clean cut heals, while repetition rots respect. Respect requires predictability. People must know outcomes when they test you. Uncertainty invites games. Attention must be spent as currency, not inhaled as oxygen. Meetings are wars of tempo, set pace, control frame, and let others adjust. Refuse cheap dopamine. Stop refreshing feeds for validation. Build value, not vanity. Discipline is your billboard. Louder than speeches. People follow patterns, not promises, and boundaries will anger. But their anger proves the leash is cut. Do not be a man of open doors. Every door needs a lock, a key, and a reason. Scarcity is dignity. Respect its return, guarded with precision. You don't need to be loud to rule you, need to be consistent until silence itself becomes law. Quiet power, predictable boundaries, and sovereign scarcity forge the gravity others orbit. Respect is not an event. It is the architecture of daily rituals. The law you obey before applause arrives. Brick by brick, you build, each refusal a seal, until storms break against unshaken walls. Begin each day with clarity. Choose one measurable outcome before touching messages or feeds. Focus is sovereignty, a blade that cuts noise while scattered attention leaks authority. Do not start with messages. Do not drown in feeds or moods borrowed from strangers. Start with yourself, for the man who begins reactive ends enslaved before noon. Your body is the first arena. Train before you speak. Sweat before you explain. Strength in flesh hardens the voice, while weakness leaks into every word. A weak body folds under gaze. A strong body steadies silence into gravity. Kings mastered war in muscle before ruling in thought. Respect begins in flesh. Journal your decisions. Record context, choices, and results without excuse. Feelings betray, but ink preserves clarity. Note saves sovereignty when memory bends. Schedule solitude, for only silence reveals your own voice without static. Noise is bait for insecure mouths. Kings return heavier from retreat. Build conflict, practice debate, negotiate, approach cold until fear dissolves. Controlled fire tempers steel, while avoidance rots the frame from within. Do not fear disagreement. Edges revealed prove strength. Fear hidden sabotage. Reward clean opposition. Punish knives in shadow. Refuse to manage every storm. Not every fire deserves water. Pick infernos worth your spine. Neglect the sparks that burn small men. Your no is currency. The more you spend, the stronger it grows. Spend it daily, never apologetically. No is law, not plea. Keep digital presence disciplined. Do not leak desperation in captions or comments. Every post is signal, and every signal builds or bleeds reputation. Treat respect as climate, not weather. Climate holds when moods shift. Build climate in ritual, not mood in moments. Be slow to decide. Rash choices waste resources and credibility. Wait until the last responsible moment. Patience is warfare. Patience is leverage. Time delivers information to those who wait. Impatience pays the price of slaves. Stillness robs enemies of power. Curate your circle with violence. Cut fast when edges are resisted. Dead weight kills. King's loyalty is revealed, not begged. Do not explain boundaries to violators. Enforce once, then silence. Explaining invites negotiation. Enforcement teaches law. Praise strategically specific, small, and deserved. Cheap praise weakens. Sharp praise fortifies. Make gratitude ace. Thanks must sharpen, not soften. Recognition is steel, not sugar. Treat compliments as contracts. Warmth must create work. Praise becomes debt when channeled into action. In relationships, replace charm with presence. Charm decays. Standards endure. Do not confuse care with access. You can love without lowering gates. Boundaries guard affection, not block it. Train yourself to leave early. Sovereigns exit before they are consumed. Stay long enough, never too long. Establish office hours for access. Structure breeds predictability. Chaos dies under calendar law. Reject manufactured urgency. Most emergencies are manipulation. Do not rent your spine to false alarms. When noise grows, widen silence. Insecure mouths overspend words. Let them collapse under chatter while you remain stone. Respect is inevitability. People bow to what always arrives. Consistency builds inevitability. Inevitability builds law. Led with consequences, not threats. Threats are noise. Consequences engrave memory into bone. End each day with a ledger. Measure builds, protections, refusals, numbers. Silence critics faster than feelings. Sleep like a sovereign. Rest is not begged. Command sleep as equity. Guard it like crown. In romance, hold frame. Validation must orbit you. Desire without orbit is hunger. Hunger is slavery. Mystery is magnetic. Erosion comes from overexposure. Keep layers or lose gravity. Study enemies. Learn their moves, not moods. Strategy is steel. Spite is roost. Respect demands clarity, not cruelty. Cruelty is chaos. Clarity is order. Serve your future self. Discipline today is payment forward. The king you will be demands loyalty now. The world bends for those who bend less. Approval bends, respect anchors. Untouchable men live by personal law written, unbroken, enforced. Each no is legislation. Each yes is treaty. Do not chase being liked. Likes are weather. Respect is empire, immune to storms. When storms rise, smile once, stand still. Rain cannot soak stone.